Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. We always appreciate you for tuning in live, listening in the replay. We know that a ton of people are going to listen to this in the replay. We just want to let you know from the beginning we appreciate you. You can feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that email is Christian at trustchristian.com. Especially if you want to get in contact with Dr. Bay, we do some things off air, so you can feel free to reach out, starting out with that email. Go forward from there. It's a great entryway to say, hey, I want to be in contact with someone such as a Dr. Bay. He is someone that we would call private. We've had him in the private for years as mentorship. So, we just want to say, hey, if that's something that anyone wants to engage in, you know what you can do. Feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. So, Trustee Training, Spiritual Sundays with Dr. Bay, these conversations are always appreciated, always welcomed. We've been wanting to do these for years and share this information with people. People question the type of stuff that Dr. Bay and us are going to talk about today. And a lot of people actually want to know about the information that Dr. Bay and us talk about. We could talk about that ad nauseum, how many different cultures and people around the world, how many cultures Dr. Bay's talked about and dealt with, engaged with. We could go all over the place with these conversations. So we're going to do our best today to stick to a very important aspect of trustee training, because this is the vault. This is where you find out from seniors, trusteeship or otherwise, that's been in this commercial valley game that people are engaging in every day, getting up if you're a part of the merchant class. You're getting up and you're engaging in some type of commercial enterprise and endeavor, no matter where you are. But let's just say in the states, Dr. Bay can talk about the nine jurisdictions. We can talk about how certain things don't affect you, how certain things do affect you. So we're going to talk about what really does affect you. Do you know what the causes are? Let's talk about the causes today, Dr. Bay. Thank you for joining us. How you feeling today?
Wonderful.
Okay.
I'm doing great, just like you.
Well, that's great to hear. So, Dr. Bay, we haven't done a lot. We've done some introductions on previous episodes. This episode in particular, ladies and gentlemen, we want to cover thought process, programming for successor trustees, successive generations of what's called generational wealth. Dr. Bay's fully qualified to talk about it. He helped people do this in multiple states, had licenses in multiple states, had people licensed in multiple states that worked for him that was engaging in this style of work. So, Dr. Bay, could you talk about programming, how you would work with your employees or your previous company and share with them how to program someone properly or to reprogram? Because think about it, Dr. Bay, when you meet someone that's over 18, they've already been programmed. Of course, they've already been programmed after 9, but they've been programmed for sure after 18. So let's have that conversation of programming, reprogramming, the importance of enrolling in a training system, something that can train someone. Could you talk about that, Dr. Bay?
Well, if you think about it, everyone is programmed one way or another to one degree or another. I look at it from the standpoint of whether it is advantageous for me and others too, or whether it's not. Um, Anything I feel like that is not good for all concerned is not righteous, and I personally believe in righteousness. And I also believe in accurate, demonstrable wisdom. I want knowledge applied wisely is wisdom. And so the only way to get wisdom is to have it be applied wisely, and the knowledge that you have, and then you'll know and can demonstrate and show how to use it. in training the people that I had over the years in my investment consulting company, I worked along those lines in several categories, getting them to realize that most people, especially of the ethnicity that we were to start out with, was only taught to sell or buy life insurance to bury you. And my programming to them was, this is not the proper programming. Insurance is literally something to ensure whatever it is being replaced. In other words, you buy car insurance, so if your car gets tore up, it'll be replaced. If your house burned down, it'll be replaced. And so the same thing with the human, even more so it should be, that if something happens to the human, they need to be replaced. And they need to be replaced in an economic way and a structured way that will allow future generations, or even the present generations, to carry on in the economic aspect that the program is designed to take care of. Now, I don't know if this is the area you want me to talk about, but that is the major aspect of understanding what's called estate planning, trust and will planning, and that type of thing.
Okay, great. Does planning and programming go together?
Sometimes. Uh, Most of us have been programmed into a system that is done either through education or through a belief system to feel, think, and act a certain way. And so, if you're, but knowingly or unknowingly, everybody is being programmed all the time with their exposure and their interpretation that is created through somebody else's concept, idea, or appreciation for something that they want to manifest in and through and by you. In other
Okay.
words, if you look at the jurisdictions, especially the six that we talk about, all of them are set up to structure a program to control you in certain ways that is supposed to be advantageous to the whole. It may be only advantageous, however, to the few people that wants the program structured that way. I'm not sure if I answered your
Oh, you
question.
did. You just went pretty in depth with the estate thought process, and that obviously is very important. But just really just actually listening to everything you were saying, about exposure and interpretation. Those are some of the highlight points. To just thinking about it back immediately about what you just said was, that's very very important. And, the information that we're gathering. Dr. Bay, do you think that the information that we receive is more capricious in the way that it arrives to us, or it was divinely meant for us, based off of things knowingly and unknowingly?
Well, it was. It depends on what level and who you are, because it's as a whole, as a group, it was designed to do things to control people in a certain way. Now, uh, this control was, in most cases, taught to be a system that is best for all concerned and not just best for one person or two people. However, it almost works the reverse. Uh, all that is concerned tends to be doing what the masses tend to be doing what the few wants done in the programming, and that's in almost every area of programming.
Okay. So let's stick on, well, see, it's so easy to go into, oh, should we talk about fear? Should we talk about belief systems? Because these are aspects of programming that, Dr. Bay and us, we do, and we just want to deal with certain groups of people that say, hey, I want to reach out. I want to, connect with you and Dr. Bay, and Christian at trustchristian.com is the email you can reach out to. We definitely, work with, individuals in that aspect where it is you being management consulted and focused on actually growing your business or yourself, and there are elements that you got to know, ladies and gentlemen, and Dr. Bay has been able to cover not just the economic element but as well the mental element. Being a four, Dr. Bay, could you talk about programming and how that looks mentally and physically for yourself?
Well, in every area, um, people are programmed, and I'm not clear of what you want me to cover here.
Well,
I could go
even
back to,
yourself, even yourself. How were you programmed? How were you trained to be programmed, and how do you program yourself still to this day, mentally and physically?
well, that's a part of the training system that we have, and we do it in a system of masterminding. And like most systems with it, there's a certain amount of knowledge tied to what you're trying to accomplish, and you apply this knowledge in a way that will benefit you, hopefully presently and future generations. Certainly, if you want into setting up estate planning and trust and that type of thing, you're looking at it from the standpoint of how you can benefit yourself and others presently and future generations, even when and if you're not around. Our programming has to do with a whole bunch of things, and there's every area of your life you're programmed to feel, think, or act a certain way. Now, whether that program is accurate, demonstratable knowledge, or whether it's something you just simply have to believe because ain't nobody ever done it or ever achieved it, is another story. So, um, it is difficult, very difficult, to deal with any individual and deal with them properly the same way you do a group because no two people are alike. And that's the reason for the training programs that they should get in touch with you about, is so that they'll understand themselves, then everybody and everything else.
Okay, when you say understand themselves, this is where the world ran into a crossroads, sort of like the cross they use in the Bible. So there's a crossroads. The crossroads is, how do I balance my spiritual ambitions and knowing that there's a here and after, and knowing that everything that ever was is, and everything that is and is was. So once they know that, Dr. Bay, those are macro thoughts to life. How do you bring that triangle back into this world? And when you say know yourself, how does a person, quote unquote, They say create that balance. Now, I know the word you would use. It wouldn't be balance, it would be harmony. That's the word I would use. Would you use harmony?
Yes,
Okay,
balance is equal.
correct. So nothing's equal in the universe. We're very aware of that. Like, there's nothing that. It's almost like asking a person name something that's equal in the universe. But we could say that what's equal in the universe, which is the first level of duality, Dr. Bay, is the masculine and feminine principle.
Well, here again, everybody is different, so it ain't equal. But the masculine and feminine concept
Right.
is being done in a very challenging way. The worst treated people on earth has been the feminine energy. And most feminine women have been made feel like and programmed to feel like that they are the followers and not the leaders. And that is why so many women whose first vow is a especially, and I could go other ways too, have challenges dealing with men because men have been wrongfully taught that they're supposed to be the boss, and they know ain't no boss in them around. And so, understanding and getting an understanding of who you are and who the other person is, so that you can know how to deal with yourself and the other person too, is a major, major aspect of what we need to understand and appreciate in ourselves and in other people. The clustering of women are this way or men are that way is very, very inaccurate and does not carry with it all of what is needed in order to function as we were divinely designed to. But maybe as certain people feel like or think that you should or believe that you should feel and act like.
Okay, so you sounded real good, but we need solutions to a problem, Dr. Bay. And one of them is the the balance in the spiritual, wanting to sit under a tree and meditate, and going out and getting some money so you can provide an opulent lifestyle. Talk about that. How did you convey that message to your second and third generations in your family?
Well, you must remember money, economic money, comes on from an individual's effort. Whoever services the most people make the most money. Now, the question there becomes whether they're servicing it through a system they put together that is divinely designed to help, or a system someone else put together, which is what most people are dealing with. In other words, most people are on a job, and the job determines what they make or what they don't make, or how many hours they work, or how many they don't work, and so forth. So the thing that I look at is what we must do individually that turns into a collective understanding of what we must do at, in order to have what we want and do what we should. And that's the major reason I think they should get in touch with you if they want to deal with and get trained in this type of thinking and understanding.
And it is important, Dr. Bay. The programming aspect is so important to talk about because that's how we start. We started out programming from 0 to 7, 9 years old. Most people think you're programmed completely by 7 years old. So they say you come into the world with no conscious thought process. You have a subconscious thought process. Okay, how do we work with the adults, Dr. Bay? We're working with a lot of adults. They're coming through. They're saying, hey, look, I got to reprogram myself. I know some things weren't true. I knew a lot of things weren't true. I felt it in the universe. I felt it in my spirit. But now that it's in my spirit, I don't know what to do because I was led to believe that there was a God outside of me. There was something that was going to save me that I could pray to.
Well, if you're going into that area, that was an area that started about 4,000 years ago, a little less. And we have been subject to it throughout most of the world. And that is a part of the major programming uh, that has taken place now. If you want me to go and step into that a little, I could, but I
Definitely.
didn't know if you want. Give you a good example. Only people that believe in Jesus, as far as the general overall consciousness go, rob, steal, and take other people's land, whether it's North America or South America, Australia, or Northern Africa, or all. It's the only Islamic and Christian people that believe in Jesus that do that. And there's a reason why that is true. There's a reason why, even now, if you understand uh, the the Bible and the code that is written in, it even tells you why it's true. So, in other words, uh, you may have heard of the sermon of the sword, and in the book of Matthew, it kind of clarifies it somewhat, even if you don't know the code. So it is a very challenging thing that people were faced with, and understandably chose the sermon and not the sword. In other words, they chose to live, and they knew that if they lived, they had to practice this particular belief system. Because if they didn't, they were going to cut their heads off. Uh, we don't understand and don't deal with that type of programming that has been perpetuated from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation since then, that causes us to feel and think and act a certain way.
Hmm. Okay. I had a question for you, and I just started listening and making sure I'm listening, and it went away. Hopefully, it'll come back. Because there was a question about when it comes to this training stuff right now and how you're operating. And it sounds like people are trained from generation to generation, and there's ways to break these generational thought processes. What are some of the best practices, Dr. B?
Meditation and masterminding.
Okay, fine. Let's just go ahead and stick to these 2 points for a few minutes here because we are aware that masterminding happens at many levels. This is a general thing. This is something that goes on in the public, let alone in the private. There's masterminding going on. Okay, so what's masterminding to you?
Well, just like you said, it depends on the various levels. It is a collective consciousness of a group of people that wants to see a certain thing manifest on this plane of existence for them individually or collectively.
Okay, that was simple. So then let's talk about the meditation. You said people can meditate their way into the solutions. How does that happen?
Well, that is a more, much more. There are probably close to 4,000 different types of meditation. So um, we must understand that there are countless ways to meditate and accomplish various aspects of meditation. So to get into that is a long drawn out process.
Okay. But it's almost like, well, just more to ask the question directly, how does meditation benefit a person directly?
Depending on what they're meditating about.
What is meditation?
Meditation is using their thoughts to manifest their feelings in their world that causes them to do or not to do certain things.
All right, let's stick here for a second. It sounded pretty great. So they're using their thoughts to manifest their feelings?
Yes, that's
Okay.
one type of meditation. Another type of meditation may be clearing all thoughts and feelings out. That's when it's such a complicated,
No, 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 no
sophisticated
worries. No, no,
subject.
no, no worries, Doctor Bay. People just want an idea of. They want to know the concept before they engage in having to practice. Because this is not like you say a da 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 thing. It's not something where you meditate one time and your problems are gonna go away. It's no, you meditate one time and you gonna manifest like you say your feelings. It doesn't happen one time. But people, they're in they're in a spiritual pickle, as they say, Doctor Bay. Here's the spiritual pickle, Dr. Bay. Many are in a spiritual pickle, meaning that they know that they don't fully believe in anything outside of themselves. They're aware that if there is a creator, it's within them. But having a creator within, there's a sense of loss of direction when the masses, the general population, has a permeated thought of there's something outside of you that if you don't do right by, you might not make it in the after. So so the thought is, well, okay, the book is supposed to prepare me for the after. Right. At the same time, I'm here right now. I gotta make some money because that's the way it is. Dr. Bay talked about it. You gotta service people. Okay, I gotta know my reason for being. I gotta know why I'm here on the planet Earth right now. Okay, that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Is are you aware of your spirit, man? How do you cater to your spirit, man, or your spirit woman? How do you cater to that and still go out and have to service people? As to like he talked about, how do you reprogram yourself to do that? See, people want the magic pill. Oh man, I wish I could do the meditation one time. Dr. Bay, do you think you could do meditation one time and all your problems or the solutions for whatever you're meditating for are going to work?
No, you can't do nothing one time and it works all the time.
Right, except for having a
Time
baby. You can
is
have sex
limited.
one time and have a baby. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
All right,
you
there
can
we
have
go.
sex one time and not have a baby also.
That was a good one. I got you there, Dr. Bay. You said there was nothing you couldn't do, but we did get you that you could do it. All right, nevertheless. Okay. This is spiritual Sundays, Dr. Bay. So we're reprogramming ourselves. We need ways to reprogram ourselves. We need to be in
Absolutely.
contact with a master meditator such as yourself that
Well,
knows us.
that's
That's
the reason I suggest they get in touch with you and get. It is not a da 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 thing. It's a training thing. So it's not something I just say. It's something I have you do, so you can do and follow through and do and do and do.
right. And so, just to let everybody know, Dr. Bay does get around. We are going to be in the Atlanta area, so if you want to reach out, feel free to reach out. This coming week, we'll be in Atlanta. Christian at trustchristian.com. Definitely feel free to reach out, Christian at trustchristian.com. When you talk about a meet and greet, or if you even talk about just connecting, that's something that definitely could happen. We're going to be in the Atlanta, Georgia area, so feel free to reach out. It's Atlanta, Georgia, right, Dr. Bay?
Yes,
Okay,
Atlanta,
great.
Georgia, and South Carolina the following week.
Exactly. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So this is definitely going to be we're going on the tour. Whoa. So we're right here, Dr. Bay, and we appreciate you for coming on so far today. We definitely wanted to get. This could seem like it may be a small part, but programming is everything, ladies and gentlemen. We're all programmed. That's why we want seek education. Some people say, "Oh man, what makes Dr. Bay an authority?" Well, what makes anyone else an authority? That's through an experience. Dr. Bay's had those experiences, building the businesses, utilizing his spiritual aspect of himself in the business world, having a system that he knows in place that can literally implement knowing what days to do what. What makes a person say, Dr. Bay, oh, I wanted to come back at this time in history?
Well, different people, different things, because we got to understand that if you go through the normal programming, you don't come back in the sense that you are a human and individual. You're either going to go to heaven or hell. And so, yeah, and that's how you're going to come back. However, if you go through a spiritual rebirth or past life regression, you'll find that that's not true at all. It ain't even close to being true.
Just sitting here thinking about Dr. Bay, how many people out here nowadays want to do a spiritual, they want to do a past life regression. That's something that we've heard for years now, and people actually spend big bucks to go to foreign countries. Dr. Bay, they'll literally go down to Central and South America, try to drink some toad pee, and say they having a spiritual rebirth. So it's just interesting to know that that's something that you have the ability to do, and we can work with people to do, and that's why they're reaching out to me and you, and they can reach out at christian@trustchristian.com. Once again, that's christian@trustchristian.com. And so, man, that was powerful right there, Dr. Bay. Spiritual, what is that called? A past life regression. So many people want to do that. It's almost like they're working, but they also are seeking something for their spirit. And there's this inner yearning in their heart, Dr. Bay, that says, I need a knowledge. I need the tree of life. I need the tree of knowledge, Dr. Bay. Decipher that verse for us. What's the tree of knowledge and what's the tree of life?
For different people, it's different things. So if they get with you, we can help them understand what the different things are in that particular situation.
Exactly. All right. Want to know if there's probably a good story we want you to share. Is there anything based off the energies for today for yourself that you would like to share with our people,
Well,
Dr.
but
Bay? Our people are present now.
with, there's today is a one day for me. It's the first day of the month for the system that is being put together, and so it's the number one month. It's the 10th month, and zeros don't count, so it's a one again. So it's a day to get things started. So I'd like to see people get started today and come on our way and call you and do what they need to make all their dreams come true.
Dr. Bay, how do you go from belief, if they let go of their belief system, now they're left in the open, and they have to get linked up with a knowing system, because when you leave, do you think a person needs belief at any level of their life? What is the benefit of having belief as opposed to having faith and knowing, Dr. Bay?
There is no benefit to it in comparison to those two. The
So,
knowing system is the best system of all.
okay, so these are systems. So there's a belief system, there's a knowing system. Is there any other type of system?
Well, yes, there are thousands and millions of different types of systems. Everything that operates properly is in a system. You are a system. You got a heart that does one thing, a kidney that does another thing, a brain that does another thing. A car is a system. It's got an engine that does one thing, wheels that do another thing, motor that does another thing. I could go on and on. Everything's in a system.
Okay, okay. Doing our best to stay focused. You went somewhere with that one. Okay, so there's a belief system, and then there's a knowing system, and then there's many other type of systems. But many are definitely saying, "Hey, I want to listen. I want to reach out. I don't have a belief system, or I really don't like believing in things, because I do want to know. I do want to get around accurate, demonstrable knowledge, knowing." But Dr. Bay, it can be quote unquote scary because people have been programmed in a fear based belief system. So leaving that, it only is to say, okay, the faster you get a new program, the better. But as long as you got that old program, there's going to be some level of fear and belief engaged in the moving forward process. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I did a class on that this morning.
Okay. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing classes on it. You want to make sure that you know about those things, feel free to reach out. Christian at trustchristian.com. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about education and implementation. Appreciate you for coming on, Dr. Bay. You're always a blessing. You've done a lot of great things out here, and it's definitely something we want to speak from the people's perspective, because there are many that are listening, Dr. Bay, and they're the ones that are going to have to get up to speed. So let's just say this. What happened to you meeting people where they are, meeting people at their needs? Is that something you practice?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the challenge with that is most people don't know where they are.
Okay, 80% of the population doesn't know where they are. It's easy. The 80-20 rule will give
Uh,
80%.
Closer to the 99%,
Right, 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 right.
even greater.
Okay, here we go. We'll end on this one. We'll give someone a jewel a day. So, right before we go to bed and programming ourselves, right? When you talk about mastermind and meditating, you engage in that before you go to bed at night?
Well, different aspects of it I engage in all day long, not just before I go to bed at night. But what I suggest people do
Okay.
is to, once they know their reasons for being and what year it is for them, what month it is for them, what day it is for them, what week it is for them, and all that type of thing, and what is to indulge in what they are to do that day, that month, that week, and that goes, and then don't practice the 13th law, which says stop lying. They got to practice the 13th law and stop lying to themselves, because the number one person you lie to is yourself. Okay, what you tell somebody else, you got to tell yourself that lie first. And no one really wants to do business with a lie, including you. And people that lie to themselves do less business with themselves, because they don't want to do business with a liar knowingly or unknowingly.
Okay. Oh, that's it?
Well, that's some of it.
Okay. Spiritual Sundays, ladies and gentlemen. This is as simple as it gets when it comes to the conversations with Dr. Bayes. We've had these relationships for a long time now, a while now, and I have appreciated Dr. Bay and wanting to share them and say, hey, look, you want to make sure you know about a system. People talk about putting together a wealth system. How you gonna put together a wealth system and you don't even think of it as starting out as a system? It is a generational wealth system. People, are you putting together a system or are you trying to put together a job? Put together a small thing, small enterprise? Or is it something that people really want to build? What's called a system of generational wealth. And that comes from being trained in various different aspects. And having access to someone like a Dr. Bay is critical. So we look forward to hearing from you. Any departing words, Dr. Bay? Okay, here's a good one for you, Dr. Bay. Could you talk about the importance of planning out the day in advance? I think you're going to say about the law of tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I always appreciate you. I was thinking about that yesterday. And, if somebody says, oh, you didn't get that done today, you could say, there's always tomorrow. Or you could say next time.
Well, you got to understand that today is the tomorrow you planned for yesterday. And so that tomorrow is the most important, which is today, is the most important day of your life. Because it's the only day you know you have. You don't know you have. There's nothing you can do about yesterday. And tomorrow ain't promised. The other tomorrow, the future. So today is the tomorrow you planned for yesterday.
Okay, so let's talk about the
Mm.
importance of creating this plan because you just talked about knowing what day it is, what week it is for you. So we got to talk about this. Let's talk about getting in a system, quote unquote, that says they're going to be trained in that.
Well, that is basically what I'm about. So they need to get in touch with you, and so we can do that for them.
Oh, no, no,
Because
excuse me about
different
that.
people are.
About planning the
It's
next
too
day, Dr. Bay. Excuse me, I don't know why it didn't come out right. It's like, man, we're at a distance
planning
right
the
now.
next day
Yeah,
is the major aspect of the system. So that's why they need to get in touch with you, and we'll show them once they do exactly what they need to do to benefit themselves and others too,
yeah.
present and future generations.
So this is what we'll say about Dr. Bay when it comes to aiding you and how to plan your days and months and years out is we've been using it for years. No doubt about it. It gives you a lot of clarity on how you feel when you're aware of how you feel. Like Dr. Bay said, you can be more in control of your thoughts. So that's something we definitely would say that the system has given us. Dr. Bay talks about in the training, or Dr. Bay shares with you aspects of your thoughts and your feelings. So once you're able to, quote unquote, not necessarily control your thoughts and feelings, one of the most critical words he shared with us was just dwelling. That was something we were thinking about the other day, Dr. Bay, was uh, a lot of people have issues with the thing about how do you control your thoughts. And so, how do you control your thoughts means what are you dwelling on? What are you uh, sympathetically, empathetically, or positively controlling to ponder on? What are you pondering on? What are you dwelling on? What are you worrying about? What are you allowing to stay in your thought process? That's a form of dwelling. People say, "Well, how do I'm thinking, Dr. Bay, I'm thinking. I'm thinking negatively, Dr. Bay. I don't want to think negatively, but I'm thinking that way." Well, if you want to stop thinking that way, you got to stop thinking that way. And the way that you stop thinking that way is by thinking about the opposite. Well, I don't know how to control the bad thoughts, Dr. Bay. They keep coming and going. And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, is how do we create filters to filter these thoughts that are going through so we can create further emotional attachments to or detachments away from. Just like Dr. Bay say, what do you think's going to get more strengthened? What you love or what you don't love? What you love, you're going to do more of. What you don't love, you probably should do less. People don't really like not eating. They like eating. And for that reason, because you like eating, you might eat a little bit more than what you're supposed to. That's what happens because people love it. Until they don't love eating that much, they eat less. That's how it goes. So we look forward to hearing from, individuals, families that want to make those changes. We got a bunch of trustees that are already up and going when it comes to trustee training in it. And we look forward to working with those families because That's Dr. Bay's background is coming from that, finance, trust, state, so people get that great wisdom as well. But it's overall wisdom, not just in one area. So look forward to hearing from you all. Christian at trustchristian.com. We definitely always like want to keep asking Dr. Bay questions, keep them on the line as long as we can. But we're always being punctual of Dr. Bay's time. We always appreciate him and respect him for everything that he's contributed to mankind and society. And you think about that, Doctor, ladies and gentlemen, somebody that wants to serve, that wants to serve. People ask Dr. Bay, how do I get paid? You got to service somebody. He said the greatest. Dr. Bay, what do you mean? How do I get paid? How do I service somebody? How do I create something out of thin air? It's inside of you. The skills and the talents and abilities are inside of you. Appreciate you, Dr. Bay,
But
for
more importantly,
go ahead. Go ahead.
we'll show you how to. More importantly, we're going to show you how to tap into them and use them.
Correct. It's so important, Dr. Bay. People say, "Oh man, I right." So they learn about their horoscope, they learn about their personality type, they learn about themselves, they get some knowledge about themselves, sometimes in the public. But do you have a system that helps you use those tools and talents and abilities to your best ability? That's what Christian at trustchristian.com is going to help reveal to you. Look forward to hearing from you all. Peace and joy.